So let me ask you a question. Would you like to be famous? Let's say when I was much younger, if you had asked me the same question, I would tell you yes. But then I'm growing right now and I've come to this point in my life where if you asked me the same question right now, I'll tell you no, I don't want to be famous. And yeah, you may go, let's say, assuming and thinking, oh, why wouldn't I want to be famous? Like, fame is a good thing. And I'm actually not even going to say right now that fame is a bad thing. And there are a lot of people just like my younger self who dreamed that one day I would be famous, and I was just trying to think of what I would do to become famous until everything changed. Not because I saw fame to be a bad thing. It's cool, I have no problem with it, but I don't want to be famous. And I'm saying this because I remember one day I was like jogging around my streets back in my house, sorry, back in my home in Benue State, Nigeria. So while I was jogging around the streets, I just felt like I felt really good jogging around the streets where I grew up, and I was just like thinking to myself that if I happen to become famous, would I have this freedom of being able to like jog at the places where I really enjoy jogging? Not just that, would I have the freedom to go to places where I've always, I've always enjoyed going to? I think, or I'm beginning to learn rather, that everything in life comes at a cost. I think some people don't really go out and let's say they go out there into the world with the intention of becoming famous. For most people, fame just comes as a byproduct of what they're doing, like it comes as a byproduct of the cause they're trying to achieve, and I can perfectly understand. But right now I find myself trying to build a career, of course, that involves making my contribution to the world, helping somebody to feel better, making life look beautiful, because for me life is beautiful and I'm so determined about enjoying myself, making the most out of life regardless of everywhere I find myself. I think a few days ago I was listening to a guy. He was about 17. He's late right now. His soul rest in peace. And while I was listening to the guy, he was talking about having growing with the condition called progeria, and how life is not always easy, but every day he wakes up, he tries to think about the things that he can do, not focusing on the things that he cannot do. And in as much as yeah, progeria is not cool and all of that, but he's like, he keeps looking forward to one beautiful thing that he can do every day, and that like brings happiness to him or brings him some form of inner peace. And that's exactly where my life is, trying to make the most out of life regardless of where I find myself, because life is not a bed of roses. You're always going to, like, how I put it, you're always going to find yourself in situations where you won't feel happy, situations where you feel really sad and all of that. But if you ask yourself at the moment, okay, what do I feel grateful for? What can I look around right now and feel grateful for? I think you would surely be able to shift your mindset from the negativity, and you find yourself being able to focus on something positive. And I think it's just kind of life changing, because I feel like our minds get to like work on whatever information we give our minds. If you give your mind something positive to think about, it's going to like replicate so many other positive things. And then if you give your mind something negative, it's going to replicate so many other negative things. So yes, this video is actually not about how the mind works, but just more about how I am determined to just focus on making the most out of life instead of trying to be famous. Because just like I said earlier, every price comes at a cost. Okay, the simpler way I like to put it, that like sounds like rhymes, is like every prize has a price. Price like what you're giving, and then price what something costs. So for everything you're trying to get, fame, I look at fame as not bad, but something that comes at a cost. And this cost is freedom. And it's something I am not willing to give out, because I think it's going to steal some of the things that make my life meaningful, some of the things that make my life beautiful. And I'm trying to imagine going back to where I grew up and wanting with all my heart to like move around the streets, jog, run around the streets where I was raised, go to places that make me feel like nostalgic, places that make me feel really happy, places I'd always been to before I became like really successful and famous. And then I find out that I can't go to those places because once I try to just step out, everybody is like trying to get my attention, paparazzis everywhere. Like, I think people who are famous, if you meet them one on one, I think, yeah, they enjoy the fact that it comes with a lot of recognition, it comes with a lot of what's the word, maybe fulfillment. Yes, of course, fulfillment. But I think that if they are being very honest, they would agree that it comes with a lot of restraint also. That freedom, let me paint this example. That let's imagine Ronaldo is trying to like take a walk by the street. Can you like try to picture what exactly it's going to look like? So many people are going to like be all over him. Everybody's going to be all over, like, oh, let just sign your autograph here, please do this, please do that, please do that. Everybody's like, it's going to really be, let's say, cumbersome and all of that for him. And I don't think he's going to enjoy that experience. But it's just, I think probably it's one of the reasons why it's not always so easy to like walk, let's say, be walking by the street and then see some celebrity just around. It's one of those reasons why it's really that what's the word, is that rare to just bump into any celebrity, because we're not even talking about the part of like their security. You know, there's a way that when I was talking about every prize coming with a price, there's a way that even when you become so rich, you'll be unable to go to simple places because you become scared for your life. You're being scared. You're like, oh, I hope somebody's not going to like come hijack me. I hope somebody's not going to run into me and steal or try to kill me. And I'm not saying this video because I'm trying to say you should not be famous. Anybody, I think fame is cool, and if you want to be famous, it's cool. But I think for me particularly, it's not what I want to do. I don't think it's the way I'm going to enjoy my life or make the most out of my life. I think one of the ways I'll make the most out of my life is to be able to be free, to do what I want to do, so long as, of course, I'm not hurting anybody, to go to anywhere I want to go, to be able to have money. I don't even want to be a billionaire. That's the funny thing. There was a time in my life where I would have hoped I want to be a billionaire, but I don't want to be a billionaire. And my reasons are because every prize, like I said, comes at a cost. If you want to be a billionaire, even your time, especially when you're coming, your time is really not even going to belong to you all all to yourself, because you probably will not even be able to have time to spend with your family, because you have to be there at different business meetings. You're having business meetings even when you want to sleep, except if, of course, like the way a lot of people are doing it in tech these days, you can actually be a billionaire when you're like probably selling some high ticket offers, and those offers that don't have to take your time. So it's not like you're exchanging your time for that money. You have control over how you're able to live your life, and I think that's really the best way. So if probably I become a billionaire in that way, cool, but I'm not going to set out to be a billionaire because I want to exchange my time with my family. In fact, these days, sometimes when I'm even like on my phone, my baby is still very little, but when I'm on my phone these days, even as she's little, and sometimes she's just like staring at me, and then I ask myself that, is that how I'm going to be with my daughter? She would want my attention, but then I can't give her my attention because I have to be in different countries, so there's really no time to spend with my daughter. Like, it's really not the kind of life I want to live. So I just kind of look at it that most of the time when you want something, you give something. So maybe when you want so much money, the way I look at it, it feels like you need to give so much of your time. So I think that as it stands right now, all I want in my life, which is different from what my younger self wanted. My younger self wanted to be famous, but my older self at this moment, I don't know what's going to happen in the years to come, but at this moment, my present self just wants to contribute to making somebody's life better, of course, in exchange for money, because that should be more like my craft, my profession. So I want to be able to contribute to making the world better. I want to be able to help people to feel better, to experience life and enjoy life even without all the money, because more than often you get so much fulfillment and beauty out of very simple things that don't cost so much. So I don't think that we need to have so much money before we become really happy. So that's what I want to dedicate my life to, and also help people who are interested in that school of thought. And I also want to be able to have the time to spend with my daughter, raising my daughter intentionally. I don't want to be famous. I just want to contribute to the society and to my life, to my daughter, and that's just all. So, thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.